Kate Northrup here with the Money Love series, Love Story series, and I'm here with my friend Sarah Jenks. And Sarah is an amazing, amazing coach, and she runs an online program called
Live More, Way Less.
Which is just, her whole brand is just so amazing because it's about fully, deeply sinking into your life as a way of, I mean, I know that the hook is weight loss, but I know that it's about a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And so you can find out more about Sarah at sarahjenks.com. And I'd love to know, Sarah, just to get started, what did you learn about money growing up?
Oh, such a good question. To be honest, I didn't learn that much about money growing up. I always had an allowance, but I was never that good at sticking to it. And, I didn't have a credit card until I was out of college. So I felt relatively lost in it. And I think, I'm sure it's one of those situations where who knows who's supposed to really teach you this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't asking to learn. I just kind of thought it would all be handled for me someday, but we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, that's really a common kind of like this vague sense that somebody else would be taking care of that at some future date. And I definitely had the same experience. So,
yeah.
Sarah and I both grew up in New England. I think in basically the same time. I think we're the same age. So yeah. I don't know if it was just like in the air, but that was the deal.
Totally.
And then what have you found as you grew up and as you left college, got your first credit card, and got into maybe your first job and then transitioned into it to be an entrepreneur? I mean, that's like, tell me kind of what happened there.
Yeah, such a good question. So, and what's so great is that I'm just sort of starting to, you're getting me at a really great time because I'm just starting to really sink into my relationship with money. And it's been pretty negative for the past, 6 or 7 years. Yeah. And basically what happened was, I grew up kind of blissfully unaware. And same thing through college. It was just kind of easy. It's like I had money in my bank account, and then when it was gone, it was gone. And then when I moved to New York after college, I had my first job. There was no way I could keep up my same lifestyle that I was used to growing up. And in college, on my $30,000 paycheck with paying rent and the whole thing. And so I basically got a credit card and spent way beyond my means consistently. And then I just got embarrassed and shut down and decided to just not even look at anything. Yeah. And so then I was kind of like anxiously unaware for years and ended up racking up about $30,000 in credit card debt. And kept telling myself I didn't really care. It was just debt. Money isn't real, all this stuff. But at the same time, it was really weighing down on me. And I think it was also a really big manifestation of the extra weight that I was carrying around for so long. Mm-hmm. And then of course I started my business. I got even more into debt. I still wanted to go on vacation. I still wanted to go shopping, and I would get pissed that I couldn't. Yeah. And then I would get into the space of like, I wish my boyfriend made more money, I wish I had a trust fund like my best friend, and I would blame everybody else when it's obviously my job to support myself and to own this part of my life. Yeah. And so what happened recently, I guess it's just a little over a year now, I just decided, oh my God, I didn't even realize that I had this expectation that someone else was supposed to do it for me. And it was a rude awakening, and I was really embarrassed that I felt that way. I consider myself, a positive feminist, and I want to take care of myself, and I wanted to be independent. And yet there was this story of it's my husband's job, it's my parents' job. Mm-hmm. They'll manage it, they'll figure it out. Someday I won't have to work. All this stuff. Yeah. And finally I said, like, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it fun.
Nice.
And so I ended up, really getting into my business, getting super excited, paying off my $30,000 of credit card debt in less than a year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was really exciting.
That was such a relief.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I lost like 10 pounds.
Nice. Yeah.
Just the stress was gone. And then since then, it's really been a process of, okay, now that I don't have debt anymore, how do I stay organized? How do I stay on top of everything? Because I've realized that I've gotten good at making money, but I'm terrible at keeping it. And I'm also not that great at keeping it organized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of where I'm at
Coming
right
into
now.
that like mastery of management, or really having fun with the daily interaction with the money. Yeah, cool.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And it's very similar to my story, which I go into in the book, in my book, Money, a Love Story. And I'd love to know for you, like, what do you think allowed you to make that shift from thinking somebody else was going to take care of it for you to just deciding, like, wait a second, I actually need to do this for myself. What was that moment?
Yeah. So the moment was really, Jonathan's my husband. Mm-hmm. We were fighting a lot about what his career was going to look like in the future. And he's a resident. He's training to be a surgeon, and he has 4 more years of residency. It's like such a drag. I know.
Yeah.
And I, like, every day I'm like, what are you going to do? How are you going to make money? What's your practice going to look like? And he's like, woman, leg off of me. Like, I'm working 100 hours a week, doing my best. Like, I don't have brain space to think about this stuff. And, but it was really weighing me down. And so I realized that I was blaming it all on him.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh my God, I am driving a huge wedge between me and the person I love the most. And it was because I was just putting so much pressure on him to do the things that I was perfectly capable of doing myself. And I played out what it was going to look like in 15 years if I continued to put all this pressure on him. And it was just not pretty. And I realized, like, I have to own this, else this is not going to be good for my relationship. Yeah. And then I realized, like, what if owning it was not like, oh, this is not what I thought my life was going to be like, or no. But like, wow, I had this incredible opportunity to stand on my own 2 feet and knock it out of the park and have a blast really creating this beautiful relationship with money and creating a life for my family. And so that was sort of like that 2-prong shift.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, that's really great, because financial stress is the largest cause of relationships splitting up. It just is. And so that's a huge piece. And I love that you said that when you paid off all of your debt, you lost weight as well.
Oh, yeah.
And do you want to just talk a little bit, just for my listeners who don't maybe know your work as much, about what you teach people about weight loss and your unique perspective on that?
Yeah, totally. So what happens with a lot of women is they feel like, I'm so miserable because I have 20, 30 extra pounds on me. Sometimes I'm so miserable I have 3 extra pounds on me. And True, right?
Yeah.
And like, okay, when I lose 3 pounds, 10 pounds, 30 pounds, oh, that's when I'm going to feel like, oh, I'm going to feel so relaxed. I'm going to feel so feminine. I'll be dating. I'll feel more confident. Like, my clothes will fit better. Life will just be like sparkly and beautiful and amazing, right? So what happens is that we say, okay, so this life that I'm really craving is going to happen later. So what happens is that your life right now where you're sitting is kind of boring. And when life is boring and we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not having fun, food becomes our only source of fun and excitement and comfort and connection. And so even though we want to lose weight, we have no choice but to fill these emotional voids with food. Yeah. So what I do with women is I help them identify, okay, what do they want their life to be like? What are they waiting for? What are they waiting on the wait for? And how can we put that into place now?
Nice.
And it's also like getting out of our own way with all these ideas about how we're not good enough in our bodies and all that stuff. And so I talk a lot about how to have more fun, how to have a good relationship, how to have a great career, how to have a good relationship with money.
Nice.
So we get all these things sorted, and then what happens is that all these voids are filled, and we no longer need food for fun. We no longer need food for love. We no longer need it for connection and excitement. So we just kind of like stop eating like crap all the time.
I love it.
Right? And then we lose weight.
Yeah.
But what's great is that way before you lose weight, you already feel awesome because you're taking care of yourself.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And what's interesting as I'm listening to you, it sounds like that actually could be applied to money as well. Like, because I think that so many of us are, even what you said, like expecting Jonathan to do it for you or your parents or whatever, like we're waiting to really live our lives until we make 50,000. And then once we make 50,000, then we're waiting, it's going to be like this when we make 100,000 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we can really do, just right along your same point, is like dialing down into how do we want our life to be, and how can we incorporate those things now. And that, of course, makes you happier, which makes you be able to give more value in the world, which makes you able to make more money, which it sounds like is what you kind of figured out getting out of debt and all of that stuff.
Totally. And it's interesting, because, obviously I do the work with food because it's something that I struggled with for so long. I definitely find the exact same patterns in money coming up. It's like, if I can just make this much more money, then I can move or do this or buy this, and then everything's going to feel amazing. And then what I have to do is I have to look back and be like, I feel the same way now when I felt when I was making, $50,000 a year. Yeah. And so, and I think, like, I love how you really prioritize thinking about trust and fun and feeling good, because it's not always about the nitty gritty and the investments and the moving money around. Though I know, like, as I've done that, I have felt so much better.
For sure.
But when you can find the little things and think about the picture you want to paint, you actually realize, I don't need another, $100,000 to do that.
Nope, you don't. Another $100,000 is great, but you don't have to put your life on hold until you do. Yeah. Exactly. So thank you so much for just sharing your philosophy, because I I was just noodling with that. That was really helpful. That was really helpful. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about your money love story and kind of like where you're at now and what the next frontier is to share with your folks here?
So good. So I think for me, my next personal frontier is really thinking about, I think for me it's about like investments and investing in myself. Yep. and how important that is. Because a lot of times I think, I'll just do this one program and then I won't need to do anything for like 10 more years. And just, and getting on the bandwagon that it's okay to consistently spend money on myself and to own that and to know that that's okay. And that's a real important thing. And then also really investing, in stocks and bonds and all that stuff.
For sure.
And just to feel like a financial adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's so important to me.
Yeah.
I definitely have a funny age thing where I always feel kind of insecure about my age and that I'm really young and that I don't need to deal with any of this stuff now. And I've realized that, no, being an adult can be super fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and to really own my adult money patterns, I think is going to be awesome.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for coming on the Money Love Story series.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is really fun, actually. If you want to know more about Sarah, visit sarahjenks.com. And if you want access to more Money Love Stories, go to moneyalovestory.com, where you can find all of the interviews, as well as find out more about my book, Money a Love Story. And if you purchase the book, you'll get free access to my free access. It's free to my 2-hour online event called A Course in Having Enough, which I will have guest speakers on: Amanda Steinberg, founder of The Daily Worth, Barbara Stanny, and Marianne Williamson. So join us, moneyalovestory.com. Thank you, Sarah. I so appreciate you being here. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.